On the campaign trail now, Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris rolled out her small business plans in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but not before GOP nominee Donald Trump got a word in on the airwaves first. Skylar Henry has more from Washington, where the Biden administration is accusing Russia of election interference.
Vice President Kamala Harris chose tax-friendly New Hampshire to roll out her plans to help small businesses.
It's essentially a tax cut for starting a small business.
The Democratic presidential nominee is proposing expanding tax deductions for new startup expenses from the current $5,000 up to $50,000. There's no price tag on this plan, and it would need congressional approval.
I want to see 25 million new small business applications by the end of my first term.
Recent polling shows Harris trails GOP rival Donald Trump among voters who say the economy is a major factor in their vote. The former president has an economic address planned for Thursday, but beat Harris to New Hampshire Wednesday on the radio waves. Trump called her a Marxist and took a shot at her intellect.
We can't go another 4 years with a dumb president. We can't do it. We had 4 years with a president that should never have been there, and we can't have it. We're not going to have a country left.
Here in Washington, the Biden administration is accusing Russia of election interference with two schemes U.S. officials say were designed to achieve the Kremlin's, quote, preferred outcome this November. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced criminal charges and sanctions and seized internet domains. One alleged scheme directed a Tennessee-based company to disseminate content favorable to the Russian government.
We have no tolerance for attempts by authoritarian regimes to exploit our democratic system of government.
The move comes with just about 2 months to go until Election Day, and less than a week before the two candidates face off in their first debate. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Now, former President Trump is participating in a Fox town hall this evening. Now, neither Trump nor Vice President Kamala Harris has released comprehensive recent medical records. Well, it'll be a good idea to keep the VNL News app handy for breaking and developing news right at your fingertips. You can download and use it for free. Just search VNL News in the App Store today.